Feeling good?
Relatively calm.
Yeah.
I think you're way more excited than me. That's for sure.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Esther ST. I hope that you are doing very well. In today's video, I'm very excited to announce that I have my amazing darling husband with me, and it is his first time being on my channel, which I'm very excited for. And I will ask him to introduce who he is to you.
So as Esther said, I am the aforementioned husband. My name is Paul, and I have the joys of being welcomed into Esther's channel today. So hopefully everything will pan out well for us, but also for you guys. May this video treat you well.
Thank
and
you.
also treat me well.
Definitely. So in today's video, we want to give back value on our experiences in planning our wedding, and more importantly, how we prepared collectively and individually, and advice that we can also give back to you that would like encouragement in the season of waiting, transitioning into courting and into a fruitful marriage. But I want to first and foremost start off with my new book called The Becoming Woman. So as you can see, that's my hand and that's my husband. But this is when we took our beautiful photo with our lovely friend Jessie, professional photos in London, Regent Street, which was amazing. And I recently had a book launch for it last year, and it was so great. The feedback, we're even now doing book series on a monthly basis per chapter. So if you haven't got a copy of this book yet, you are very welcome to visit the website, authenticworth.com, or Amazon as well. So let us begin with you, babe. How did you find pursuing me? And in the process of pursuing me, what did you learn about yourself?
To answer the first question, it was long. That's the response. No, it was, at least to me, it felt relatively calm, but it was long in the sense of it was a semi-long distance relationship. Obviously, we lived in the same country, but we didn't live in the same place. So it meant whenever we wanted to see each other, we had to purpose to see each other instead of being like, oh, I'm just going to go down the road to see Esther. It's like, no, we had to plan to see each other. But God definitely gave us strength throughout the time where we were literally getting to know each other, and then started actually being in a relationship with one another. And God definitely provided for us during that time. The long, at times, drives, other times it was train, other times we'd meet halfway. Definitely a good balance. But what I would say to those of you who are aspiring to be in a relationship, to those of you who are potentially in a long distance relationship, or to those of you who have already resolved in your heart that you never want to be in a long distance relationship, what I would say to you is long distance relationships do work. What you have to resolve in your mind is you have to recognize that long distance is not forever, and you have to recognize that if you put in the work, then it will be fruitful. And so I know for a lot of people, they might say long distance relationships, they never work. My own perspective on that is that the reason why they say that is because there's no end goal with the relationship. So it might be like people date just for the sake of dating perpetually, where actually we had recognized and already resolved that we are going to be dating not just for the sake of dating, but it's going to lead to marriage. So there will come a time where, yes, this long distance stuff will be in the past, and now we're at that point where the long distance aspect of our relationship is in the past because now we're married. So just to give you some advice in that sense, that yeah, long distance relationships, they do work. You just have to be purposeful with that. Yeah, it will be for a set time. You have to navigate what that looks like for you, but be resolved that yeah, if you want to put in the work and you see a end goal in terms of quotation marks end goal of actually being married, then it will be fruitful. Pursue the long distance relationship if it's for the person that you know it's right for you to be with. So yeah.
Definitely. Well, you've answered that so well, babe. As you were pursuing me, were there anyone that you were accountable to? Did you have people that you could speak to about being with me, and how did that make you feel? Were you happy to share that joy, or did you just want to play it, safe in terms of being private until you were rest assured that, I was going to say yes?
No, I would say I'd definitely let people know that I was in a relationship, and I definitely, again, I'm the type of person, naturally, I enjoy privacy to some extent. I respect other people's privacy.
Yeah.
And so I recognize that there were times where like I let certain people know things and there are other times I wouldn't let other people know certain things. There's a balance between the two. But definitely, I wasn't one for keeping everything in isolation or in secrecy. Another word of advice for those of you seeking relationships: if your entire relationship is in secrecy, then something is not great. It can be very easy to be blinded by love, in the sense of, if you're in secrecy, you don't always see the full character of the person you're getting to know in a relationship. So there is definitely value in having other people who see your relationship, whether it's your close friends, if it's your family, whether it's people who are that you're close to, in terms of, like, for us as believers, people like within your church community or other people. Definitely is very, very useful. They can help to provide insight in terms of, like, if you have questions or if you are getting to know one another. Another set of eyes could definitely be very beneficial, but also another set of eyes can see in ways in which perhaps you might be changing that perhaps the other person isn't even seeing. Sometimes it can be very easy to think like, oh, we're not going to change, or be the person we're with will change, but actually we can be being changed without even recognizing it whilst being in a relationship. And so, yeah, for our own relationship, I recognize all relationships are different. But one of the steps that I did take was actively having Esther part of my church, so getting people to actually know Esther and see her. So when the time came, that she wouldn't feel like, oh, everybody that's in my life is brand new to her, but actually she's able to build her own relationship with people who are closer to me. And by God's grace, everything has panned out well, in terms of, like, whilst we were actually dating and courting, as much as we were getting to know each other, Esther was getting to know people that I knew, and people getting to know Esther, and vice versa. Esther's close friends and family were getting to know me as well, bit by bit as well, which definitely has been very useful for our relationship up until this point.
Definitely. Wow. That is so good. And in terms of our courting season and the experiences that we had, what has that season taught you, and how can it help someone currently who is in the season of courting but is also being expectant to be engaged?
In terms of what it's taught me, it can be easy to say it's taught me loads of things. It could also be easy to say it's taught me nothing, but that's not true. Looking to my own example, I'd say it's definitely taught me the principle of one, being diligent. So it's like you actively have to take steps to, when you're in a relationship. Yes, I can say from the perspective of, as a Christian, it can be very easy to feel like God will do everything for you, in terms of, yeah, God, I want to be in a relationship and I want my future spouse, whether it's husband or wife, to have X, Y, Z features and to do this and be that. And it's like, submit to God, amen, bring it about in your will, Lord God. And then afterwards, just then sit at home and do nothing, and then just expect God to do that. And anything is possible for God. 100%, God can do it if He chooses to. But one of the things in which I learned is the fact that we all have our part to play in life. So even when we are desiring these things, we make our requests known to God, but then we have our part to play in then searching out to be in a relationship. So for guys, you have your part to play in pursuing the lady that you're interested in. But ladies, you also have a part to make yourself be available to be pursued. I recognize for a lot of ladies, that's like they want to be in a relationship, but sometimes they don't put themselves in a position for people to pursue them, and almost expect that someone will know that they want to be pursued. And so we both have our part to play, and that's definitely something that I learned. It's not enough to pray and wait for God to do it alone. No, we pray and then we act, and we ask for God for wisdom to make the right decision. And then when you do then enter into a relationship, don't enter with your eyes closed, in terms of enter with your eyes wide open, in that take things as they are, and the things that you're seeing, the things you're liking, the things you're not liking, take them as they are, as opposed to take them for what they could be in the future. It could be very easy to be like, oh, this person is like this now, but I can change them. No, the only one who changes people is Jesus Christ. So go in with the eyes wide open. Like, the person that you see before you is who they are. Do take your time to get to know the real person as a whole. Meet them in different environments. Don't just meet each other in privacy. meet each other in very different places. So in each other's homes, with family, meet each other with friends, just the two of you together in public places. All of these help to ground the person, see how the person actually is as a whole. And of course, you need some time. Some people would argue you need to be dating 2 years minimum. Some people would say, no, 6 months is enough. Time, whatever the time happens to be, just allow some time to actually get to know each other properly. And those are definitely some of the things that I could say that I've learned off the top of my head for now. I'm sure there were deeper things at the time when we're actually courting, but some of those things have now gone from my mind because we're at a new stage now. So hopefully that partially answers the question.
Definitely. Oh, wow. It kind of brings me back to my days of being positioned for a relationship. And just as what you've rightfully mentioned, it is about being accountable to people around you. I can speak from my experiences as well, where I wasn't too quick to share with a lot of people, but I was very accountable to some of my close sisters at the time when I was dating my husband. Just having that spiritual and generic accountability and good encouragement and good energy that I can bounce back off when things are going well. And throughout my season of courting my husband, I really enjoyed it. Just to also give another question as well, how did you know you wanted to pursue me specifically? Because of course we know that when people court or when they date, there are many opportunities to look elsewhere. If someone isn't really giving you their time, you are more likely to see other people around you. But how did you know that I was specifically the one that you wanted to pursue without looking elsewhere?
So when I first got to know Esther and speak to her, first we started speaking. So in order how, maybe this is a question that comes later, but in terms of how we met, so I met Esther online and I saw her profile online. I found it very intriguing. So then I sent her a message like directly. And then afterwards she responded a few seconds later. No, she responded the next day. And from there, things clearly panned out relatively well. But in terms of how I knew Esther was going to pursue, well, the things that she portrayed from what I initially saw was enough to intrigue me. I was like, cool, I find it very interesting. And so over time, I started getting to know Esther. So we started speaking, learning about our own backgrounds, upbringings, interests, who we are. These things help to, of course, ground us and not just feel like, oh, this person is like this in my imagination. How are they actually? And so some of these things help to ground Esther in terms of my own mind. And hopefully, by her speaking to me, it was grounding like her perception of me to be someone who she was interested in. But then also recognizing that she displayed many of the qualities in which I was seeking. And she displayed many qualities. I was like, yeah, these are excellent attributes for someone that I want to be in a relationship with, both in the now, but also for the future, in terms of like if we get to the stage of having family, like, yeah, being family with Esther. So these are some of the things that came to mind. And of course, being a person of principle, we stand on like our principles. So there's certain things which they quote as non-negotiables. And so many of the aspects that were my non-negotiables, Esther displayed as characteristics. So the key one being a person of faith, so having her own relationship with God, her own relationship with Jesus Christ, that was very important. We know of the scripture that says to not be unequally yoked. We know that it's often very quoted amongst us as Christians, but it's a very true principle. Like, if you think about it, if you're unequally yoked to someone, if you're wanting to go left and the other person wanting to go right, you're going to be butting heads constantly. So even in our faith, like her having her own faith was very important to me, and not just oh, I'll believe because Paul believes. It's like, no, I want you to have a relationship with God for yourself, because at the end of the day, all of our relationship with God are personal. We all have our individual access to God. And so many of these characteristics were displayed very, very early on in terms of when we started getting to know each other. So that's how I knew, all right, it will be right to pursue Esther. And of course, we can't forget to say praying a lot and asking God for, in one sense, for confirmations. We know that God is a supernatural God. So sometimes he will answer your questions directly. He will give you the specific signs that you need. But also recognizing there were times where it's like, okay, there's things which I'm desiring, and it's like God is bringing them about. It's like, okay, God, is it right for me to continue pursuing? And in my own experience, there were many times that God was giving me confirmations that to continue pursuing, and that it was right. And so bit by bit, I continued the pursuit of Esther, and thanks be to God, we're here now. So,
We are here indeed. Wow, thank you so much, babe. I think as well, again, we got married in November 2023, so we are still early in. And so far, are there any key lessons that you've learned, or are you just in the process of just marinating in this new season? And for those who are in the engaged season looking to get married, what advice can you give them?
So I feel like a couple of different questions there. In terms of have I learned anything in a short amount of time being married, the answer is definitely yes. Being married is definitely a major milestone for anybody in life, and so with that brings a lot of changes and a lot of newness to things that you've imagined and you've thought about a lot, but then actually it's like now you're actually living in the reality of like, oh right, I wanted to be in a relationship, now I'm married. So it's like, okay, the dynamic is different. It's like now you're living with your partner who's more than a partner in the sense of like you're actually bound to each other because you're now husband and wife. So it's like, as God says, like the two become one flesh. So it's like you're one family. So that dynamic in itself will bring newness. For everybody, that's going to look different because everyone has got so many different upbringings and experiences. So like how that then comes when two different people then come together, obviously then there's going to be a lot of newness. So it's going to be like a lot of learning and adjusting, a lot of compromise, some for your benefit, some for the benefit of your spouse. Ideally, I understand the principle of you want it to be a good compromise so that both are then happy in a relationship. Sometimes it might be like I will have to compromise on something that I really enjoy, but then there'll be other times where it means like Esther will have to compromise on something that she really enjoys, but for the benefit of hopefully both of us together. And so definitely say that I'm learning that, even though it's still early days, definitely. In terms of any advice for people who are in the engaged season, what I would say, for my own understanding, I guess, try, if possible, try not to make the engaged period a very lengthy one. The reason why, it's multifaceted, but some of the reasons why is that when you're engaged, you're in that season of like, cool, we know that we're together and we're going to be together. And for some people, they can then conflate that with actually being married. And it's like, no, you're not actually married yet. You're closer to getting married. It's like you're committed to being married, but you're not married yet. And for some people who are in lengthy engagements, they can almost feel like, oh, because we're going to get married, might as well just start acting like we are actually already married. And then we start doing things that are reserved for people who are married. And so in order to like eliminate any temptations or any strife in that sense, I'd say not shorten per se, like make it as quick as possible, but don't make your engagement longer than it has to be. So if you know that it's feasible, like you know you want to get married to your spouse, and you know that it's very feasible to do it like within a year, then aim to do it within a year instead of like, oh, let's get engaged now and then we'll get married like 5 years time. It's like, what? That means you're going to be missing out on potentially like 4 years of actually being married. In my sense, I'd say you're not gaining anything by being engaged for that long. So I'd say like, try to have a shorter engagement if possible. Of course, it's not always possible. There's so many different circumstances and factors. But if it's like within your control and God can help you, then try to make the engagement period shorter, and that your marriage period could actually be longer, where you could actually walk into the fullness of being what an actual couple should be, which is to be married. So that's definitely something that I would say. I'd also say the engagement period, everybody will find it very different. Some people, they love the engagement period. They love the potential and the drama that it brings with being engaged. For some people, they don't really enjoy it because for them it's like a layer. It's like now added stress in that. Cool, now we're together, but now we have to like plan a wedding, and then we have to plan all of these new life circumstances. And for some people, they are infused by it because they love the planning. Some people, they love the joy that's coming by thinking about things. But for some people, they're not like that. They're rather like, they just want to get to the destination of being married. And that is okay. At the end of the day, we're all unique. God has made us to have different interests and different likes. And so I can speak from personal experience in that in our own engagement period, Esther is someone who is infused with planning. She loves thinking about the things like, oh, how's this going to look? Let's choose this, let's choose that. I myself, I recognize the importance and the value of those things, but I'm also like, I want to get to the end of the engagement period and go to the bit what all of this preparation and planning is for, which is to be married. Yeah. And so like the engagement period is cool for me, but I wouldn't say it's like my favorite stage of the relationship I've been in, because I knew like I'm dating Esther to marry her. I'm not dating Esther to be engaged only. So that's probably some advice I'd give. Like, yeah, everyone's different, so their experiences will be slightly different. But yeah, if it's in your power and your control, don't try to make the process of being engaged too long. Yeah, because then you're missing out on the benefits of actually being married, or you're just prolonging the benefits from being married by having a longer engagement.
You've just answered that so well. And for those of you who are listening to us, I mean, we could go on and on. We probably might even do a part 2 because this topic is not to be rushed at all. So if you would like my husband and I to come back again, leave a comment in the section below. We want to appreciate, firstly, my beautiful husband who has come and shared his experiences and all that he's learned thus far up until marriage. I'm so grateful. And I'm so humbled that we are here serving you, supporting you, and we trust that you have been encouraged by our talk today. I definitely would like to talk more importantly about the ways that I enjoyed planning the wedding. As my husband rightfully stated, there were some parts where he just wanted to get straight to the destination of marriage. But for me, as a natural planner, because I run book launches and I help authors plan their launches and run workshops and seminars, it comes as second nature to me. But it would be great for us to talk about what we specifically experienced and how we was able to save quite a lot of money as well during our time in planning a wedding. But without further ado, I'd like to say a massive thank you to our recent subscribers. And for those who are new, my name is Esther, and it's so lovely to meet you. Any questions or any contributions, both?
No questions. I guess thank you for having me on this first time being on your channel. I guess God bless you all for subscribing to Esther's channel and being with her along the journey so far. And who knows, perhaps you'll see me again in a couple more videos. We shall see. Only God knows. If not, then be blessed.
Thank you so much, everyone. We love you, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.